Parents are ruining World Book Day. Use So Hayrace how to embrace its vital message. Here we are, once again, striding into the pages of every parent's least favorite but would-be wholesome celebration of the year. Should be a wonderfully old-fashioned celebration of stories and the love of reading. And we're more appropriate. After all, this is not a great time for books, in many ways. Libraries are closed. Recently, one girl on the student council had the temerity to ask for a library within the school. Head said yes, so long as it was funded by parents. The school gave us, we definitely need World Book Day. We need a day to there's the for the record, the World Book Day director UAEs, there is one UAEs these okay. There were, on costumes altogether they are too expensive and make poor kids feel left out. And then there was, which was like Christmas in March for morning telly. In among the news stories, school gate competitions to see who has made the best costumes for their kids, were losing sight of the point of the day to celebrate books. So, as a step to rectifying things, let's first make sure our children all continue to have access to great books at school, at libraries, and at home. And then, let's keep the costumes in the spirit of celebration. You don't need to buy if you are looking to carry the spirit of the day beyond the 7th of March, the weather is just picking up enough to make a few literary pilgrimages. You might head to Egypt. You might also visit the statue of Peter Pan that J.M. Barrie commissioned in. My 7-year-old and I have been reading The Secret Garden intermittently over the past few months. I love Harry Potter. Sharing books with children is life's greatest joy. Don't let that get lost. This is an extended version of an article that first appeared in our family newsletter. Every week, Telegraph Media Group Limited 2019. We rely on advertising to help fund our award-winning journalism. We urge you to turn off your ad blocker for the Telegraph website so that you can continue to access our quality content in the future. Thank you for your support.
Raindrop, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Cracking, fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park,